So welcome everybody to this call, which is to help people get involved with the Women in Data Science Datathon. So we're going to try and explain how to join. This Women in Data Science program is an annual activity that has a conference which will take place at Stanford University on March 2nd. And then there are many regional events that will take place worldwide, and you can go and look up on this page where the events are occurring in different countries, and gradually more places are being added and more links being added to actually enable you to see how to enroll. The third element, which is what we're going to talk about today, is the Datathon, which is a Kaggle contest, and there are a lot of resources around this contest. The data set is a healthcare data set. This is the third time that the Datathon is being run, and and now what we're going to do is go over the steps of how to participate. So I'm going to ask the group that's joined us from Qatar, who actually ran some onboarding workshop, which I'm sharing. There are also, in addition to the regional events, onboarding workshops, and the team from Qatar on this call ran one of the onboarding workshops on Jan 30th with a follow-on last week. And so what they're going to do is go through just a small piece of the material to explain how to get onto the platform. So I'm going to ask Waheeda, Halima, Reem, and Rachael all to say hi. So if you'd like to do that, unmute yourselves and say hi, and then I'll hand over to Halima to go ahead to share her screen and go ahead with the presentation.
So hi everyone, I'm Reem here, and
yeah, I'm Maram as well. I'm joining you with Reem for this webinar. It's nice to meet you all, and I hope our talk today will be of benefit. And thank you for having us.
Thank you for doing this. This is great. Thank you so much, Reem and Maram. Anyone else want to say hi before we hand over to Halima? Wafa, do you want to say hi? Nope. Okay. Okay. I think Halima, you may get started.
Hi everyone. Good evening. Good morning. How is everyone doing? So thank you so much, Susan, for the awesome introduction. We are 5 ambassadors of Women in Data Science Qatar, and we are about to explain how the process goes and how you can familiarize yourself with the platform that is hosting the competition, and that is Kaggle. So without further ado, let's get started. Can everyone hear me first? Sorry.
Yes, very clearly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So without further ado, let's get started and let's get to know more about Kaggle. So Kaggle is very known for hosting data science and machine learning competition. But before all that, I would like to repeat some general information about Datathon. So what is Datathon? It is an international coding challenge that is held ahead of the Global Women in Data Science Conference. So we all know that the Global Women in Data Science is not the singular event of the year. Actually, we have 150 regional events happening all year round. And so before this conference, typically we tend to have a Datathon competition. And the goal of this Datathon and the whole initiative in general is to inspire women worldwide to learn more about data science and to create a supportive environment for women to network with others who share the interest. So this is from our conference last year. Okay, so what is the theme of this datathon? So every year we tend to have a different theme and a different focus. So this year's datathon is focused on medical and patient health. So we are supposed to create a model that uses data from the first 24 hours of intensive care to predict the patient survival. And then we're going to be using a data set of more than 130,000 hospital ICU visits from patients. This is part of a global initiative by MIT GOSES. It's spanning over Australia, Sri Lanka, United States, Argentina, and so on. So this is real data. So briefly, who can participate? Basically anyone, from those who are new to data science, such as myself, to anyone who is experienced and veteran of the field. It can include anyone from students, faculty, or individuals who are working in governmental entities or industry organizations. So how does the competition go? Basically, you form a team of up to 4, or you can even compete individually if you are a woman. Why is that? Because if you are a team, 50% of the team must be at least women. And if you are participating individually, say, for example, I am participating as Halima, then that's perfectly allowed. But if it's a male, then it's preferred to have a woman participating with that male participant. The second step after registering and signing up is to train the model using training data. So you're going to be applying machine learning methods and models on the data that you have, and I'm going to be exploring the data in depth. And then, yes, you're going to be applying on the test data unlabeled, so in order to attempt a prediction. After that, you're going to be uploading those predictions to Kaggle. Actually, the entire process is going to be happening into Kaggle, and I'm going to be discussing that as well. And then organizers will be evaluating on a leaderboard. This is where all the scores will be showing for the competition. And this is a global competition, so you'll be seeing the results from everywhere, and the comparisons will be based on thousands of contributions. The final winner will be announced on the Women in Data Science Global Conference happening at Stanford University. Of course, this process involves iteration. So when you train a model, you may not be getting the accuracy level you were hoping for. So you can always iterate and try different methods or work on a different model or combine even different models together. So you can always resubmit. There are prizes for this competition. You can go to the main website of Women in Data Science Datathon to learn more about them, but they basically involve tickets and invites to outside conferences and workshops organized by Stanford University. And so the timeline for this competition is that it started in January 13th already. The team merger deadline, however, is 3 days before the end date of the competition, and that is going to be February 21st. Then we have the inter deadline and end date both happening at the same time, February 24th, Universal Coordinated Time, midnight. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to the actual practical part. So Kaggle, what is Kaggle? It's an online platform that is used for publishing code and data. It includes what's called notebooks. So they are also called kernels. So we have people who alternate both terms. However, these are essentially Jupyter notebooks that run codes before your eyes in browser. And the benefit of this is external GPU and RAM. So this guarantees the speed of the running time. You get online implementation and execution of code, and then you get version control. So if you are familiar with Git and GitHub, this is very similar, and it's happening in Kaggle as well. No need to install anything, like I said. Everything is going to be running in browser in front of you. You can access competition on Kaggle, a lot of competitions that are funded. and prizes can range from 3 to 4 to 5 and 6 figures in USD dollars. It's a good place to start practicing machine learning on real data. So a lot of people, a lot of academic institutions, they host assignments and quizzes on Kaggle. So it's a very good place to practice. So when you go to the website, this is where you can mainly access competitions. Like I said, it can involve a range of prizes. Sometimes they are money prizes. However, the good thing about this that I would like to clarify is that a lot of good companies, tech companies, they contribute to these competitions and they sponsor them. So it would be very beneficial for everyone to participate in a competition or two. For me, this is my first time participating. So more about notebooks. They are also called kernels, like we said. What are the main usages of this feature called notebooks? Is that people tend to post notebooks that contain tutorials. Sometimes they can contain starter kits and codes. Sometimes they could also include tips. So, for example, this competition, I will be, if I explore the notebooks tab inside the Women in Data Science competition, which I will be showing you shortly, you will see a lot of people having starter code. For example, if there's a certain method you would like to implement, let's say decision tree or random forecast tree, you will find people who already posted a notebook with the starter code for that particular model. We have a lot of people also posting tips on how to handle several problems when it comes to the training data. For example, you have a lot of categorical variables and features. For example, you want to deal with numbers, but then you have string values in the data. And so you will get a lot of notebooks that advise you on how to deal with non-numerical values and how to deal, for example, with missing data in data sets. So a quick overview of how you can sign up for the competition. So what you can do first is go to WiDSDataScienceConference.org Datathon page, and then you click on Take the Challenge. That's where you will get the registration form. So make sure you fill that first, and after you submit it, you will be automatically redirected to Kaggle. And if you are not, of course, signed up or registered on Kaggle, you can definitely go to their homepage first and then register to sign in. Finally, you will go to the Datathon competition on Kaggle, which is WiDS Datathon 2020. Okay. So once you arrive at the challenge main page on Kaggle, this is the what you'll be seeing, the interface. You can read more about the challenge in the overview tab to learn more. A quick note about submissions. In general, you get to submit a maximum of 10 entries per day, and I'm going to show you the submission format shortly. And then you can select up to two final submissions for judging. So when you open the Women in Data Science competition on Kaggle, if you notice on the Notebooks tab, you will find a lot of people already posted useful and starter codes notebooks. So for example, this has the label of tutorial, and so this will be discussing a certain method of prediction. There are people who are using the Cat Boost model, and then they posted the starter code for that. We have further down, I remember seeing handling missing data, and that was very helpful for me because I followed few advices and tips from there because I was facing several errors at the time. We have people who are using ensemble learning voting classifier, which is a combination of different methods. And for example, one of them is the random forecast tree. So how do you get to your part? How do you start your own notebook? You have to make sure that you are inside the competition page on Kaggle, and then you press on New Notebook. because that will automatically equip your notebook file with the data set that you will be using for the challenge. The next step is that Kaggle will ask you what language would you like to use. I think it's two choices, Python or R. So I chose R. And then, do you want a script or do you want it to be notebook style? So basically, this is asking me if I want to combine Markdown and code blocks together in one document so that I have enough space to explain what happens within the code. So I like this style more personally, and so I chose this one. And then you click on Create. So what's inside a notebook? If you see here on the sidebar, you notice that here, for example, this is from the Super Bowl. You will be having the Datathon files. You can explore them from here, and you can click on this drop-down to view all the data sets involved. The sharing mode, this is practically saying that it's stating if your notebook is private or public. I think in Kaggle by default, when you start a new notebook, it's private by default. So the language we chose it, if you saw in the previous slide, it's Python, and a lot of other information like GPU, and in here you can view CPU and RAM, and these are all external features. But they also come with a quota. For example, I remember seeing a notification that I cannot keep using the notebook for after 9 hours. And here we have the actual notebook where the coding and the markdown text will be happening. As you can see here, you can always rotate between adding a code or a markdown. It's very simple steps. And then when you want to run a code snippet, you can click on one button next to the code itself, or you can run all in here. Basically, I advise doing this because sometimes one block of code depends on the previous one, and so that way, if you run all of the code, you can avoid errors. So you can always go to the top on the navigation bar and go to the notebooks, and there you can always explore the public notebooks in Kaggle or in the competition, or you can actually click on this tab called Your Work to view your notebooks. So for example, these are my notebooks. This is for another competition, I think, and this is for particularly Datathon. So about the data. So if you go to the Data tab in Kaggle, you will see these files listed. And so the training file, CSV, this sheet contains all the training data. And then the unlabeled is the test data that you will be applying your model on to predict the survival rate. And then we have a sample submission. So this sample submission here, basically it's showing 4 or 5 rows maximum to explain, to submit basically to the competition. But the full solution should be saved in solution templates.csv. This will be also including same columns, which is encounter ID. This is like patient ID against the hospital death prediction. So solution template will be exactly like submission, but it will be longer, which will contain all the patients and encounter IDs. Lastly, we have Women in Data Science Datathon 2020 Dictionary. This will be explaining to you all the features that you will be seeing in training and unlabeled files, which is a lot of medical information, including vitals and blood work. But most importantly, you can view the data type of the features you're dealing with from there, whether it's integer, whether it's float, whether it's string, and so on. So when it comes to the submission, you will be assessed based on the score of the area under the receiver operating characteristic, ROC. This mainly will be how good the model you applied will be predicting the patient death. And so the last code block will be involving how you can submit make a formal submission, which is the 4 or 5 rows of the encounter ID versus hospital death. And you will be submitting, you will be plotting this graph, and then you will be getting the AUC RC score. This number will be showing on the leaderboard. So if we have a team here competing, they all got this score 0.91. And so far, I think this is the highest number, and this is the highest score that was obtained by all teams that are participating and have already submitted. So you can always see in real time the scores that and how the range is for the score that's being submitted. You can always go here to submit prediction, to submit your own attempt. So lastly, I would like to add some points to consider when it comes to starting this challenge, and if you are about to form a team or even work on your own. So you need to figure out like which language you would like to use. I saw a couple of notebooks that are using R, but I personally I'm more familiar with Python. You need to also consider what models you will be using for hospital death prediction. This could be a single model, or it could be a combination of many models. And then you will be working on encoding, for example, categorical variables. We know for sure that we have categorical variables. This is because this is patient data that will be involving string variables, for example, ethnicity. And then lastly, we have handling missing values. There are people who, for example, prefer to drop the columns that have, I don't know, maybe more than 75% missing data. And then there are ways to work around that. And so how to, for example, search for tips, you can check out the Kaggle discussion forum, or you can go to the official Women Data Science Datathon webpage, or you can go to the WiDS notebooks on Kaggle that I just referred to in the presentation. So I hope that was helpful to get you started. Please don't hesitate to ask us any questions, and we would like to help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Halima. That was great. Very succinct but covered. It makes it easier to see what one has to do in order to participate. I'm not sure we're going to get any questions. We'll just hang on a minute. I'm going to stop recording.